morning, class. This is your Illustrious Narrator here, welcoming you to another exciting episode of Classroom Filmstrip Classics. Today, we'll be talking about the 1954 English-American co-production of the animated adaptation of George Orwell's novella, Animal Farm. Like many children of my generation, we read this in middle school in English class. We watched a slightly truncated version of the film after we read it on a 16mm projector. The colors were faded, and the sound was sketchy at best, but hey, it was the 80s at public school. The animals of Manor Farm, which was owned by Mr. Jones, revolt after being fed up with the mistreatment by their drunken overseer and fueled by the teachings of an old wise pig named the Major. Mr. Jones is prize pig, who tells his fellow animals to overthrow the farmer and for all the animals to live in harmony. He teaches them a song, Beast of England, which eventually becomes a rallying cry for the brewing revolution. Major dies of a heart attack, which causes the animals to mourn the loss of their spiritual leader. One day when Mr. Jones fails to feed his animals, they revolt and chase him off his own farm. The animals, led by the pigs, Napoleon and Snowball, restore order and destroy anything that is tied to the former owner. Snowball posts the 7 commandments of animalism on the side of the barn, so all the animals know their rights. The farm is renamed Animal Farm, removing the original name of Manor Farm. Snowball, after organizing the harvest of the crops, orders the birds of Animal Farm to spread the good news to the other farms in hopes that they rebel against their overlords as well. Mr. Jones, who's been hanging out the Red Lion, commiserates with his fellow farmers who are having problems with rebellious animals. Snowball tries to educate the animals, while Napoleon and his sidekick, Squealer, have plans of their own when they spy Snowball sketching plans and blueprints out for a windmill, which would bring power to Animal Farm. Napoleon, seeking to run Animal Farm under his own control, has his attack dogs kill Snowball and steals all of his ideas and claims them for himself. The windmill is eventually constructed by the animals, which were led by Boxer, the farm's workhorse, and the donkey Benjamin. Napoleon continues to become absolute ruler of Animal Farm by rewriting the laws of animalism by constantly editing them to suit his own needs. He decides to deal with the humans, making deals on the side with farmer Mr. Whymper. This leads to a revolt by the chickens, who refuse to give away their eggs. They are tried, found guilty, and executed by Napoleon's attack dogs. Mr. Whymper makes a huge profit from dealing with Animal Farm, making Mr. Jones and his cohorts jealous. They decide to retake Animal Farm in a violent attack, known as the Battle of the Cowshed. The angry farmhands are defeated, but at a huge cost. Mr. Jones blows up the windmill, and a bottle of booze, which falls out of one of the farmhands' coats, is discovered by one of the pigs, bringing alcohol into the farm. The pigs have now become the members of the ruling class of Animal Farm, and they rarely work, if at all, while the rest of the farm animals toil in the sun and elements, being forced to harvest crops and rebuild the windmill, while the pigs enjoy themselves from the fruits of their labor. Boxer, the workhorse and hero of the Battle of the Cowshed, is injured in the building of the windmill and is sent off to the glue factory by Mr. Whymper. Squealer gives him a teary-eyed eulogy for the now-dead Boxer while praising Napoleon. Animal Farm has now become a barbed wire and walled city fort, with Napoleon as its supreme leader. The animals are bitter because life under Napoleon is just the same as Mr. Jones. One day, while the farm is hosting a party for the pigs from other nearby farms, Benjamin discovers that the laws of animalism that were written on the side of the barn have been replaced by one. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Later that night, Benjamin spies on the pigs' celebratory dinner and realizes that the pigs and humans are the same. This upsets him so much that the old donkey rallies his fellow animals to rebel, and they brutally overthrow Napoleon and his cronies. The end. Many changes were made from the book and the movie. My 7th grade English teacher made sure to point that out, and as a future lesson, to never watch a movie of an assigned reading, because 99% of the time, the book and the movie are different, and you'll get a failing grade. I'll go over the reasons behind these changes later, but for now, I'll discuss the major ones that stand out. Snowball played a huge part in the book before he disappears. He was the hero of the Battle of the Cowshed, which occurs later in the movie, and originally he and Napoleon were on the same page. Napoleon wasn't always a scumbag, but as they say, absolute power corrupts all, and his jealousy of Snowball's intellect and his own hunger for leadership led to Napoleon seizing power for himself. Snowball wasn't killed in the novel like in the movie. He just vanishes after Napoleon's attack dogs chase him away. And Napoleon will later use him as a scapegoat and have Squealer spread false information and rumors about him around the farm. The biggest change is the ending. Instead of having the downbeat, ambiguous ending of the pigs having become so much like the humans that it was hard to distinguish them from one another, like Pete Townsend said, meet the new boss, same as the old boss, the financial backers of the film insisted that the animals rise up and overthrow Napoleon and his pig class because they wanted the evil communist totalitarian pigs meet a Hollywood fate of good triumphing over evil. So those that watched the movie and did a book report on it would have automatically failed. The movie was produced by the branch of the Central Intelligence Agency called the Directorate of Operations. Undercover agents Phineas Fair and Carlton Alsop purchased the rights to Animal Farm from George Orwell's widow, Sonia, who had no idea that the two men were CIA operatives. They were working in part with E. Howard Hunt's Psychological Warfare Workshop, an anti-communist art branch of the CIA. The film was publicly produced by Louis de Rochemont, whose film company was the producer on paper, but he farmed out the work to a British company, Hallis and Batchelor. Animal Farm became the first feature-length animated film to be produced in the UK. It was directed by Joy Batchelor and her husband John Hallis. The British company was used because the CIA backers felt that a Hollywood production would cave into their demands due to the Red Scare at the time running roughshod throughout the United States. Hallis and Batchelor had no idea that the film was being bankrolled by the CIA. E. Howard Hunt oversaw the production and felt it needed to be more anti-communist and change a lot of the story and dialogue from the original script that was co-written by Philip Schrapp and Lothar Wolff. Hunt wanted Snowball to be portrayed less sympathetic and not filled with intelligent ideas and courage, which explains his disappearance from the Battle of Cowshed. He even sent them a letter stating that Snowball was a fanatic intellectual whose plans, if carried through, would have led to disaster no less complete than under Napoleon. Lothar Wolff, one of the several screenwriters, objected to the many changes. Another one, that the portrayal of the farmers. Since the film was aimed for Americans, they had to make sure that there was a difference between good farmers and bad ones, with the bad one being Mr. Jones, and not all of the animals agreeing with animalism. The most noteworthy change was the ending, which co-director Joy Batchelor disagreed with and heavily disliked the new ending, but her husband John Hallis agreed with his mysterious backers, and it was kept in the film to please their benefactors. In my opinion, now seeing a restored HD print of the film, I still have mixed feelings about this movie. I love the animation style and the basicness of it, but the story and the characters are too heavy-handed. It reminded me somewhat of the adaptation of The Island of the Blue Dolphins. It's too cute to be geared solely towards adults, but too dark for children. I would like to see a straight adaptation of this film one day, without the tacked-on endings, which all of the adaptations of this book seem to have. Well, this is your illustrious narrator, and I would like to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and share. Class dismissed.